Hi, my name is Heather, and today I'm going to walk you through my process of creating a custom calendar. This is the calendar that I created for Ears, the rabbit rescue that I volunteer at. You can see the cover here, which is fully custom, and so I have the logo, the title here, and I have some information on the bottom. For each month, there's a picture of a bunny. We have some fun holidays in here, like the National Squirrel Appreciation Day. At the top, we have a bun fact of the month, which is a fun fact about bunnies, and also a bunny care pro tip at the bottom. So that is for each month. And then there's always going to be some extra pages at the end, so 2 extra pages, because of the way that the calendar is made. Since it's saddle stitched, it's actually made of pages that are this tall and then folded in half, so you end up with 2 extra pages. So what we do for those 2 extra pages is fill them with featured bunnies available for adoption, but you can put whatever you want on these 2 pages. And then the back you can put whatever you want, so we put veterinarians and our shelter hours and stuff like that. So this is all completely custom, and it's a really good way to raise money for a charity, or if you have artwork and you can make them and sell them. The printer that I use is printingcenterusa.com. They're the ones that I've found to have the best price, and they also have really good customer service. If you call their customer service phone number, you will get a human right away. And they really go above and beyond to make the customers happy. I've used them 2 years in a row now for the calendars, and I've also gotten other stuff printed by them, and the quality is just really good. Also, if you do end up using them, email them and ask about their partner discount, because if you become a partner, you can get a really good discount on your order. Now I'm going to walk you through the technical process of creating the files for the calendar. Here's just an overview of the file that I use for the calendar. You can download the template from printingcenterusa.com or whatever printing company you use. It might not be very easy to edit. If you look at the one from printingcenterusa.com, it is all editable, but it's all on one layer. So it would be really hard to, like, say, select all the numbers. You could do some weird selection stuff like select same appearance, but that's also going to get the month names. It's just kind of hard for me to work like that. So I have mine all in different layers. So I have like the month names all in one layer. So all you have to do is click this thing to select the month names. And then if you wanted to change the font, you could just go up here and change the font. Bam, they're all changed. And same thing for like our little care tips and those kind of things. So either way is okay. You can grab the one from printingcenterusa.com, and in order to do that, you just go to their calendar grid section and then find the template that you want to use and then just download it. And whatever printing company you're using, they probably have templates too. If you're using a different printing company, you can probably still use the template that I'm gonna have, which will be a version of this one, and I'll link to it in the description. But just to be sure, you should look at the specs and make sure like the dimensions and the bleed and all that are the same. And if you're confused at all in any way, you can always email me at heather@heathercash.com, and I'm happy to take a look for you. After we edit everything, we will end up exporting it as a PDF, and it's just going to take all of these different art boards here, and they'll each be a page, and it'll just export it, and it'll make the PDF, and that's it. It's super easy. So let's get into the editing. Here is the template that I made from my calendar file. I kind of went through and made everything pretty generic so that it's not for a bunny rescue. And I marked out like where you want to replace stuff. So I'm just going to go through and show you how to customize this and make it your own. Before we start, let's save this as a new file. We'll go to File, Save As, and save it as like calendar customized, or you could name it like calendar and then your company name or whatever you want it to be, and keep it as an AI file. And you can just leave all the default values here. First, we're going to change the cover and just put an image here. If you look at the layers on the right, these are all the different layers, and if you know how to use the layers, then it makes it really easy to edit the calendar so that you're not like selecting the wrong things and accidentally moving other stuff around. We have the cover layer up here as the very first layer. Make sure you click the layer to unlock it. And then for the cover, we can start by double clicking on the title here. Make sure that you have this tool selected, the selection tool. You can also just press V on your keyboard and it'll change to the selection tool. So make sure that you have that tool, and then you can see that you can mouse over this and it'll kind of light up, and you can double click it and put whatever you want. For this example, let's use my cat and we'll call it Tauntaun's calendar. This will be fun. So when you're done, you can just press the arrow tool again so that you get out of editing that, and then you can just click outside of it. And then also, if you want to change the color of the text, if you click on the title here, then you have all these options up here, and you can also go to properties and you'll have all these options here. If you don't see the properties panel, then just go to Window, Properties. So we can change the color. We can do purple for Tauntaun because she's a lady. And you can also change the font. So if we scroll down here, we can pick any different font. That's a cute one. And I like to go to Google Fonts. They have some good fonts. And also, if you're in Adobe Illustrator and using Adobe Creative Cloud, if you click on Find More, and then these are a bunch of different fonts that you can add to your collection. Click the little cloud and then that'll activate it. Then we can click on the calendar and we could change the font there. You can do it with all this stuff. You can click on this and you can change all your company info. Then we want to add in an image. So let's go to File, Open, and we'll find an image of Tauntaun. Here's the image opened. It's really big. So I'm going to go up here and I'll just make it smaller so it's easier to deal with. So I'll make it 11 wide. And then I'm going to copy it, so Control C or Command C, and then I'll click into here and do paste, Command V. And now I can place it on my calendar and hold down Shift while you're resizing it to constrain the proportions. And then once I have it where I like it, I can do Command Shift left bracket to bring it to the bottom. Or you can go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Your image may be too big. I actually crop mine before I bring them in. I trim them to 11.25 by 8.75 inches because that's a quarter of an inch bigger than 8.5 by 11. But if you don't want to do that, then you can also create a clipping mask around the image, which is really easy. All you have to do is grab the rectangle tool, draw a rectangle right where you want it to be, so like that. And you do want to go all the way to the red line on the outside, not just to that black line. Then grab your selection tool and select both the image and the rectangle like that. And then we're going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And now she's all trimmed up. And then she moved to the front, so we'll just do the Send to Back again. And since we can't really see this text, let's actually make it white. So we'll just click on the text and go over to the color palette and click the white, and I'm going to move it down. And this will be different depending on your image, or maybe you don't want a full image in the back. For the ears calendar, we have the bunnies just on white, and that way it's actually on a white background, so that's why we do the colored text. And last year we didn't have any bunnies on the front, it was just text and logo, so then we just had the colored text. So now the front is done, and we can go to the layers panel and just lock that, and then the next layer here is photos. So I'm going to unlock it. You can hold down spacebar and then you can use your mouse to go around, and then also you can do command or control plus and minus to zoom in and out. I put this placeholder text here that just says photo because that's where you want to drop your photos in, but I'll just delete that, and then we'll just do file, open, and find another image of Tauntaun. The picture's really big again, so I'm just going to click it and go up here. Oh, and by the way, you do want to have this constrain proportions clicked on. And then I'm going to do width 11. And then I'm going to do Command C, copy, and go back to the calendar and paste. And this one almost fits perfectly, so I'm going to hold down Shift and I'll make it a little bit bigger. And the reason why you want to go to the red line is because that is for the bleed. If you were to only go to the black line, then you would have a white margin around the image. The black line is the cut line, and the red line is how much further you want to extend the image past the cut line. Because of course they need a little bit extra so that when they cut it, they have something to cut off. They won't have to cut it perfectly exactly where the image ends. This way it gives them a little bit of wiggle room of where to cut. So any of this part past here, they can just cut it right off. So I'm just going to make this as big as the page. And if it extends past the red line, but it doesn't go into another page, then it's actually fine to just leave it like that. And you don't have to worry about creating a clipping mask or anything like that. So we can just leave this here. And then we could go through and replace all of these the same way by putting a photo of my kitty in there. The next step is going to be the month names. So I'm going to lock the photos layer and then unlock the month names. And what I like to do for this is just make the colors match the picture that you have. And you can also do the week one at the same time. So I'll unlock the week one in addition to month names. And let's just zoom in. And this is the month name, and then the week is actually going to be this long rectangle here. So you can click the word for the month name, go over here and click the eyedropper tool or press I on your keyboard, and then you can actually grab a color from the photo. So if I wanted that green, or I could do this yellow, and then you can also kind of modify the color too if you just double click up here and maybe you want to make it a little brighter. You could do that, and then go back to your selection tool, and you could take this and you can make it the same color as the text by using the eyedropper tool again and click the text, and then you have them both the same color. Or we can do maybe like this pretty teal color here. You can just go through and do that for each month. Also, if you want to change the color of the days of the week, just select one of the week names and then hold down Shift and click on all the rest of them. And then you can change the color up here, or you can use the eyedropper. After you're done with that, then you can lock those two layers, and then you can do the fun fact. The different parts of the fun fact are on different layers because it'll be easier if you want to change the font of the paragraph text for all of them all at once, or the title all at once. So you can just unlock the title and then just click this circle over here and it selects all the titles. So then if you want to like make them bigger, you can do that. move them all over to the right at the same time. Just use the arrow on your keyboard. You can change the font. So you can do any of that stuff that you want to do. And then the same thing for the text. You can select it all and change any of that stuff. And the icon, I just put a generic icon here. You can go to Noun Project if you want to pick out an icon there. And I'll show you how to swap it out if you want to pick something different. Here is the nounproject.com. This is where I like to get a lot of the icons for the calendar because they all have the Creative Commons license, and if it's bigger than 1/3 of an inch, then you have to attribute the author. But if it's smaller, then you don't have to. So for the bigger icons, like the fun fact of the month, then you would want to attribute the author, and it's just a little string of text, and you can put it on like the last page or something. And for the holidays, if they're smaller than 1/3 of an inch, then you don't have to add the attribution. So it's really good because you can get a lot of cute icons for the different holidays. So if we go here and we can search for cat, and we can pick any of these for the fun fact. So if we want to do this cat in the box, you just click on it and do get this icon and do the basic download. If you don't want to have to attribute the author, then you can actually do the pro and download for $2.99. But we could do the basic download, and you do have to attribute the creator of the icon. And see, this says if it's larger than 100 pixels, which the calendar is going to be 300 dpi, so that ends up equaling 1/3 of an inch. And this is just the text, the attribution text right here. So it's just very small. That's all it is. And you can just put it on like the last page. And when you download it, pick SVG because then it's going to be scalable. And then go ahead and open that in Illustrator. And then we can just copy the icon, Command C or Control C. We'll just take this one and delete it and then paste. And then we can make it match the other stuff. So if I click I and I get my ink dropper tool, then I can make it that color, and then I can also do the same thing with the fun fact title. So just make sure you unlock it, click that. If you do the text, it's going to copy all of the style of the text, so it's going to make it really big. So instead do it from the icon, so it just copies the color. Now here's the really cool thing. Let's go on the icon layer, and if we copy the icon, so Command or Control C, and then we go over to February, delete this one, and we're on this artboard, so click it and make sure it's selected. And then we do Command Shift Paste. It'll paste it in the exact same spot as the other one on the artboard, so you don't have to try to get it in the right spot. And then we can just change the color again, grab the title and change the color, and just do that for all of the pages. And you can also go ahead and edit the fun fact too while you're at it. Make sure you unlock the layer, and then you can just double click on the text. Tauntaun loves to sit in boxes. And then we can take this and we can make the text bigger or whatever you want. And I would actually probably center this vertically with the icon. After you're done with that and you have all of your facts filled out too, then you can lock those layers, and then you can do the care tip, or you can make it whatever you want. This is what I did for the ears calendar because it made sense for bunny owners, but you can even take this out if you want. If you want to completely take it out, then you can actually just do it from the layer. So care tip text, and you just click delete. Yes, and then the title, icon, and flag. Oh, and the border. And you could put like an image along here or whatever you want. But whatever you do want to make it, you can just change the text here and then do that same thing we did with the icon where we do Command Shift Paste on all of the layers so it pastes it in the same place. And you can change the icon the same way that we did for the other one, and also customize the text in each one. And then you can lock it when you're done with that. Then we have the holidays. I have some fun ones here like the Squirrel Day and Feed the Birds Day. And all of these icons, I made sure that they were 1/3 of an inch or smaller so that I wouldn't need to put the attribution. If you go up here to the width and height, you can see the height is 0.3 inches and the width is 0.275. 0.3 inches is about 1/3 of an inch, so that's good. And you can basically just click on the icon and then you can change it up here. And that's how it'll change the size. And as long as this lock is here, then it'll keep the proportions constrained so that you don't distort the icon. So we can make this 0.3 and then that changes and that one's less than 0.3. So just make sure that they're both 0.3 or less. You can go ahead and add in any holidays you want to add in or take out any. When you're done with the holidays, you can just lock that layer. And these are the day numbers, which if you want to change the font, just like with the other ones, you click the circle and then you can change the font up here. Then this is the grid. If you want to change like the color of the grid or anything like that, you can do that. And the bonus pages are just these extra pages here. And these pages are going to be here for a saddle stitch calendar just because the way it's made, you end up with 2 extra pages in it. So for the ears calendar, I put a bunch of pictures of adoptable bunnies. So you can do any kind of thing that you want there, just drop in some pictures and add some text. And then you can lock it when you're done and unlock the back cover, and you can put some contact info here if you have hours that you want to put or whatever. I'm leaving these boxes here too in case you want to use them for anything. But to make these boxes, you can just use the rectangle tool, which is right here, and you can just make a box. And then remember, if it's covering anything, just do object, arrange, send to back, and you can make it bigger. You can change the color or whatever you want. That's pretty much it for the calendar design. When you're all ready, then you can do File, Save a Copy, do Adobe PDF, and you can just have all here and do Save. I usually like to uncheck the Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities just because when you send it to the printing company, they shouldn't really need to edit it. The other ones are all okay though. And we can click Save PDF. And then once that dialog box goes away, then it's done saving and we can go look at it. Here's the file that I made. You can look through all the pages, make sure everything looks good. And then when you go to order your calendar, you can just upload the PDF and then you're done. So I hope that helped. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And you can also email me at heather@heathercash.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.